Well, welcome everyone. I'm Laura Siegel. I'm Senior Vice President of Communications and External Relations here at AAUW National. I'm joined today by a few of my colleagues, Rhiannon Collins, Senior Serena Cooper, and Mary Hickey. So again, welcome. This is the unveiling of the new national website. Just to note at the top, we know that it is the overview of the national site, that this is the first phase of the website relaunch, that the site resources, the branch and state websites will be part of a second phase that's coming in the fall. I believe this has been communicated, but I'm sure you get lots of different information, and that may have not been as explicit to everybody, but that will be happening later this fall in coordination with the update of our customer relationship management system upgrade, which is all of the back end, which is going to handle the technology to manage memberships, to do all sorts of automated renewals and donations and so forth. And so I'll talk about that a little bit more later, but I know that was an immediate question that we got from a lot of folks. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen of the site. So this is the new site. I know that it's a lot of change and it's very different from the old site. We really researched a lot about best practices, did a full, huge content overview and landscape analysis to look at what we had on our existing website in relation to also what are people using, both our current members, target audiences that we're trying to grow and expand, what partners and funders and others are looking for. And the top thing that we really wanted to focus on is how to get people to what they need as quickly as they can and make it as engaging and interesting a journey for people as possible. And we're now at the point with websites that we're about 25 years into them being a norm of communications for organizations. So there's a lot more research about how people use sites and what and how people access information, how the patterns of what people are using and how they use it. We have a lot of analytics based on the old site of what people used and how they used it. We went through this process. It took about a year. There were 15,000 pages of content on our last site, and that was a cumulative effect of having not really updated the site in 12 years. And that also meant that the technology on the back end was using resources from 12 years ago that just were fairly outdated and hard to maintain. And the best practice these days really is to get down to as sharp and quick content as you possibly can, that most people aren't coming and spending lots of times on websites, that they're coming for a few quick things, or they're coming to look for information that they want to receive right away. And so we wanted to really crisp the website. And so now it's about 250 pages of content. So imagine going from 15,000 to 250 of really synthesizing and looking at what we had, what the high value assets of what we have, the information that we present, which audiences are going where. We had analytics that showed most people really only went to about at maximum 50 pages of those 15,000, that there were thousands and thousands of pages that no one had used for years and years, that people would, who are say in membership, would be looking for membership tools and resources and ways to vote or ways to give or ways to find about, say, the 5-star program or things right away, and having to really go to a search function or sort through things, or if you didn't have a direct link, it was hard to find. The same with fellowship content. Another area that people really visit is our reports, so the simple truth. So an audience that we have are people looking for us to be a thought leader, to be a strong advocate, and to be really leading in the dialogue of gender equity conversations. So I do want to acknowledge, it's obviously based on the generosity and insights and thoughts of all the members that were able to do this kind of upgrade, and that we hadn't done it in 12 years was reflective of different budget considerations, but also just that focus and where we're trying to look toward now on sustaining and serving the membership, on giving out the fellowships and grants as we always do, and being that thought leader and powerful advocate, providing our current programs and so forth. So I wanted to take you through just the very big picture architecture of the site, and then go through some of the research that led us to where we got at this point. And then I'll turn it over to my colleagues to talk about some of the sections. The site was built, as most sites are now, using different back-end components that are almost like Lego building blocks that can make things graphic and in pieces. And you really want to be as engaging and storytelling and graphic as you can. One thing is at the initial entry points, trying to have things with as few words as possible and have it really be more visual. And then you engage people who want to go deeper and get beyond into that content. We have our main issue sections. We have our programs, we have our advocacy, we have our membership area that has all of the member resources and tools and voting areas. We have the fellowships and grants right up there, front and center, because people who are coming and want to apply want to go straight there. We have our news and insights and the About Us section. So I will now go through some of the background that got us to our strategy and where we were looking to develop from. As I mentioned, we did a really strong and long audit and a lot of user analysis and research for me. This was what our first website looked like back in 1996, and many of you might remember this. This was really at the dawn of websites for most organizations. As websites were being developed initially, there was really a theory behind them of making them like newspapers online or books online. And what we found over time and what the research shows is that's not the way people engage with them. That websites really are a different form of communication that is a lot more graphic and a lot more quick, and less about reading from the start. And I will talk a little bit more about that. This was the website in 2005. Here it was in 2011. And then we got to the site that we have currently. And then the site that we've unveiled this week. As I was mentioning, that there was this theory that websites were really just converting newspapers online. And what we found is it's really much more of a visual format, that people are going through it and they really glance and skim a website, and particularly more as we move toward mobile devices, that people look at it as a visual form of engagement. And then they may go deeper if they find what they're looking for, if they're getting what they need quickly and they want that next level of engagement. The kind of mantra now is that people glance, skim, read, and then study. And that's kind of the pathway that people take through websites. The kind of branding and message focus that we had for the site was really to be relevant, high impact, bold, and inclusive. And to remember to stay really focused. As I mentioned, most of the people coming to our site are really coming to 50 pages, and we have some core audiences. And we want to connect with the audiences that are already coming and that we have, but also to audiences that are searching for things on Google or on other ways that they're trying to gain information, so that they come to us if they're looking for gender equity or things in our space. That we've really designed it around having as high quality content as we can. We went through and updated a lot of the research and information, making things really timely. There's another mantra of looking at what we call the menu test of, if you're going to a restaurant website, for instance, you want to find that menu really fast. You don't want to find profiles on the chef usually, or where they've gotten their sustainable ingredients and all of that, which is nice, but you really want that menu, or you want to know how to vote, or you want to get to your member resources, for instance, really fast, or how to apply for a grant. And if you don't find that, you just get frustrated and disengaged. That we really have taken to heart that research that shows that this medium is as visual as it is a reading kind of engagement. So we looked at how do you create building blocks of content, and we call it chunking almost, is the term that a lot of the website builders use, of how do you make a story where it's visual, the words, the idea all together so it pops out. That really being concise and as clear and as crisp as you can be is very important. Again, people are skimming and they want it quickly, that you want to have it tell stories that show faces, that show graphics, so people can relate to it, feel the content as much as read it and intellectualize it. I did just also want to note that the site is ADA compliant at a AA level, which is considered pretty high, and it's a higher standard than most nonprofits use. But it does mean that almost everything is built to be high contrast, and that does have some limitations on the design. This is an example of what I mean by chunking and how people actually, with the visual scans that people do of how they use and approach websites, and how kind of the background of our new site was designed to match that kind of pattern. This is showing that we do know what people are looking for, as well as what they want when they get to our site. When they're looking, people use the term search engine optimization a lot, SEO. When people are going to Google, when they're coming to look for issues that we are working on equity and education and economics and so forth, we want to be the place that they find. And so that means matching and developing our content so it will be findable by those people. This was showing the patterns of how people really are skimming. People only absorb about 20% of words on a page. So that means you want to keep it really concise, clear, a lot of bold, a lot of bullets, and so forth. And that most people stay on a page no more than 10 to 20 seconds when they get there. There are people that will get to that from the glance, skim, study, and read, or read and study. They're spending a lot of time and going really in depth, but they've had to have gone through a lot of threshold to get to that study point and be really active users. Most people are really coming and skimming. This is kind of a complicated chart, but it shows again that our traffic really drops off. We get a lot of views. I think we had about 1 million to the Simple Truth last year. We have a lot of people coming to our Know Your Rights sections on the LAF areas. We have people coming to our STEM research. We have a lot of people coming to apply for fellowships. And then it really drops off. We get to a much more sparse amount of folks coming to any other content on our site. And clearly the member sections are meant for people who are very engaged members, and that's going to be smaller numbers, but a very active and engaged audience like you joining us today. This is also showing that a lot of people do spend a fair amount of time on some of the pages that we have when there's strong content. So areas like the Simple Truth Report, some people spend 4 or 5 minutes as an average on that, which is really tremendous. But we're finding is people weren't going anywhere else. So we also designed the site to really focus on how to create a user pathway, that when people come onto the site, that then they will go to take action about the pay gap, not just read about it, or to join and become part of our equity group that's receiving emails to try to then engage them to be members and so forth. And so that's some of the background of how we got to where we are with this. And I did want to mention with the different questions that we've gotten about the branch and state sites, and that being this next phase, that will be focused on doing that toward the fall. And it is really contingent on us building out the section or the content relation management program where you can go on and donate and so forth. Since that isn't ready yet, that these areas of the site weren't able to be developed yet, but that should be October, November, around then, and people will be able to go in and register immediately. That you'll have drop down kind of choice menus that if you're joining in Marin or Gainesville, you can pick your branch and be able to pay the dues that will automatically pop up, that you can have those kind of informations that will be able to build the portal section or a template section where you can have automatically populated national information, but also ways for the branches to be able to put in your events and your calendars and your leadership and your initiatives and so forth. So that's going to be something we'll work on through the summer into the fall. Right now, also, there's no need to log into the site when you come anymore. It's only going to prompt anyone to log in when you go to vote or to access the MSD. And I think, as I mentioned, I don't know if I have these messages up. When you get to the member section, you can click right on the member section, and until you get to the MSD and are trying to get onto it, which is still going to be housed on the old site until we have the CRM system up, you will not be prompted to log in. So there's only when you are using the MSD, when you're voting, or when you are voting for the art contest or accessing some of the 5 branch materials, those are the only points where anyone's going to be required to log in, and you don't need that for any other purpose. So that's actually one of the biggest questions that we had received. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Mary Hickey, who's going to go over a few of the other sections that we have.
Okay, so I'm Mary Hickey. I'm the Senior Director of Communications, and I'm going to share my screen and walk you through some of the pages that we think will be most relevant to our membership. Very easy to find. From the home page, there's a little button up here, membership. So you just click on that, and it will take you to our various resources, different pieces of what you might be interested in. Here's something that you should know about. We have our governance and tools, the state and branch tools, our national election. As you probably know, we're in the middle of, or just beginning our voting, which will take place through May. So we're hoping everybody goes to this page and votes on our slate of candidates for the board. So you'll find that. We also have in the membership section a bunch of resources. When we were going through our material, we had so much material that was kind of disorganized and thrown in different places, and we really streamlined it to make it easy for you guys to find. You'll find everything like how to organize a candidate forum, how to write a letter to the editor or an op-ed. So it's all very streamlined, very easy to find. You can go to our action fund, our 2-minute activist tool, bylaws toolkits, state and branch tools, just very streamlined and very, very easy to find what you're looking for. We also have, under the Get Empowered section, we have our programs, and you can learn about our Work Smart program, our Start Smart program, the Empower program, the Nick Whistle program. So each of those has its own page. Another thing we thought that we've begun working on, and this is going to be kind of an ongoing project, a history of AAUW, where we tried to condense many, many years of our history into a really digestible way. And if you look at this, you'll see we have AAUW heroes, we have faces, as Laura said, we tell stories throughout the website, but we go back and you can engage at whatever level you might want. We have the very beginnings, and if you want to hear more, read more, we have much more detail, a timeline of what happened, and we go all the way through our history in a visual and engaging way. So those are really what we have in terms of member resources, and the About Us page, and then our programs page. And my colleague Serena is going to talk to you about our fellowships page. And if I can figure out how to get out of share, I don't think I can. So Serena, do you want to take over?
There we go. Okay, so we can hear. Okay, so I'm going to show you all the fellowships and grants section now. Just a quick introduction. I'm Serena Cooper, so I manage the site resources sites. So I do see a couple familiar names popping up. So hello, everyone. So here is the fellowships and grants landing page. As Laura mentioned before, we kind of designed the website just so if you are coming to look for what you're looking for, like on a menu, you know exactly what you want. So in terms of fellowships and grants, there are multiple places where you can find the current opportunities. So we have them listed right here on the landing page. And then below on the landing page, there's a video just going a little bit more into the fellowships and grants program, and Melissa Harris Perry is giving a video on how AAUW has changed her life. And then a few stats right here on our fellowship program. And there's also the Read More, which gives a brief overview of the fellowships and grants program. Again, another way to find current funding opportunities. And then the Meet a Fellow. So if you see throughout the page, there are different, or throughout the website, there are faces of AAUW. So particularly for the fellowships and grants, you'll see different fellows. But throughout the website, specifically in membership, you'll see different members' faces, and then also in the history section as well. But back to our fellowships and grants. Here is also the directory of recipients for the fellowships and grants. That also links back to the older website. And then here is a brief history of the fellowships and grants. So this is a little different from the history that's on the About page. This is just more in-depth detail on the fellows history. And that is it. So I will pass it to Rhiannon to discuss a little bit more about the issues on our website. There we go.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rhiannon. I am a communications associate on the team here. Let me get my screen up. Here we go. You guys can see my screen, right? Great. All right. So I'm going to talk to you all about our new Explore the Issues section, which I'm pretty excited about. It kind of is where all these different parts that my colleagues have been talking about get integrated for that sort of new user visitor who, you know, they're probably not a branch member. They're not just, you know, they know exactly what they want. They know they want to go to the policy center. They know they want their voting page. It's going to be more sort of overall for a new audience member. So you can see in our Explore the Issues section, we do still have a place for you to go ahead and see all of our research reports. If you know that's what you're looking for, you want to go see, you know, our STEM research, why so few, and solving the equation. You want to go see all of the updated simple truth information. All that's going to be in one place and easy to find. And we've also still got, we've got a policy center, and that's where you'll find, you know, if you're looking for all the information about, you know, why we support the Paycheck Fairness Act, if you want to download a quick facts PDF about it to take with you on like a state lobby day or something, you can still find that. That's all going to be in the policy center. But the really cool new thing here is we do have these 3 pillars or buckets, or however you want to kind of talk about it, for our main strategic plan areas. So that's going to be education, workplace and economic equity, and leadership. So these are going to really be where all of the information, whether it's the research, the policies that we support, our programs, are all kind of topic focused and integrated together. So for example, we can look at our workplace and economic equity landing page for that issue. And you can see that each of these is going to be broken down into subtopic areas, but there's also a main landing page for each one. And so, you know, they're all going to be kind of broken down in the same way. You're going to get some really top level information, some cool statistics, a highlight of something that's sort of, you know, our primary resource for that section. In this case, obviously, it's the gender pay gap. It's what we all are always talking about all the time. You know, all of those subtopics that I just mentioned, you know, based on our analytics and our web traffic from the old website, we know which pages people wanted or they were coming to from Google. And so some of those most popular ones were our Know Your Rights resources in our LAF section and Simple Truth. So we want to have those just be front and center. And like I said, although we have the policy center and we have our research and data in their own little separate areas, if that's what you're looking for, they're also integrated really nicely now. So if you want to know about all of the different policies that we support that go towards workplace and economic equity, it's linked right here. Again, another one of those nice faces of AAUW. In this case, it's Kim, our CEO. And another really cool function is at the bottom of every one of these pages is going to be this take action component. And so what we really want is if people are coming here, we want them to feel like they're empowered to do something. So all of these are going to have a link to donate, to learn more about our equity network, to learn about our partnership opportunities, and then also to sign up for our email list. And there's another little call out here if they would prefer to get text updates. So that helps build our database so that we can get our message out to more people more quickly. And it also, you know, makes people feel like they can engage right away with the issue. So we can go ahead and look at one other one. We'll look at the gender pay gap because, like I said, that's what we do all day, every day. So again, you've got sort of your main why it matters is sort of like the main layout for all of these pages. It's going to be some really high level stuff. If somebody's like, wow, I didn't know there was a gender pay gap, you're going to get information about it here. Some cool stats. If you click on one of these, you can share it in a tweet immediately and it'll link back to this page. So that's pretty cool. Again, this is our heaviest page because we have the most stuff about this. We've got a lot of information. Again, we have any of our relevant research reports will be linked on its issue page. So we have the Simple Truth, but we also have Deeper in Debt, Limiting Our Livelihoods. Those are all related to workplace and economic equity. And then sort of these are really cool now because a lot of these articles and fact sheets and evergreen content used to be like really buried in like the blog section of the old website. And you had to really know what you were looking for to find it, or you would just accidentally stumble across things. But here, all of these are going to be our top level, evergreen, really good go-tos that you can, you know, if you want to learn more about the pay gap in 25 metro areas or by state, or you want to send this pay gap FAQ to your local people, I don't know, whatever it is that you need, it's probably going to be in here. And again, like I said, it's going to be really integrating different parts of the website. So if we have a program offering that's related to supporting that issue, in this case, Work Smart, salary negotiation, you're going to be able to find that here. You're going to be able to find out the policies we support about equal pay. You're going to be able to learn about Lily Ledbetter, who was an LAF recipient, and the Paycheck Fairness Act, and you can go straight to Community Activist and tell your legislators that you support it, and they should too. And again, we have this great take action section at the bottom. So go ahead and have a poke around all of these pages. There are a lot of them all in here. And I hope that you like them. So I will turn this back over to Laura.
Okay. Thank you. And first I wanted to really sing the praises of this team. And I have a few other folks on the communications team. Just everyone is so talented and so dedicated and worked really hard to get this done. I didn't give full introductions. Mary has a deep background as a journalist, working with a lot of prominent women's magazines and other places as the vice president at AARP. Rhiannon and Serena both have so much technical knowledge and expertise and got these areas done, as well as looking through the design. If you can think about and get kind of the head around every single one of the pages required, because we were going from where we were to where we are now, really a redo of the whole website, not just a migration. And it's these folks and a few others that really did this in coordination with the full staff, of getting input, getting focused on where do we really want to have our materials, what are we showcasing, and really, honestly, I'm just so proud and thrilled with the team for everything that was accomplished. And I know that there are a lot of questions, and we may not get to every specific one. And you can please either get in touch through Connect or email me with additional questions that we might not get to. I know a lot of people have asked about links that were from branch and state sites to the national site. What we did was we set up what are called redirects for almost every page that got more than 10 hits in the past. So a lot of the things, if there's something broken, it may mean that nobody has clicked on that on our end for years. So it may be something to take off the site, or if you want to send me what it is, I can set up a redirect for that page, so it will just automatically go to similar content on our new page. But just to make that point a little finer, if it's not doing that already, it means that it's something that really no one has used in a long time. So it may be things that we think people use that they don't, or may have in the past, or may now be somewhere else as well. And I do apologize. That's one of those things of change as we're going through that's where we are, but it's part of the modernization that we're working forward on. On a lot of people trying to find specific content. For instance, someone mentioned STEM. You can get to things through the reports. There's a STEM section that consolidates almost all of our STEM material onto one page that then you can access the rest of it from that page, or from the girls in education. There's a large section on STEM, but they all do connect back to, we condensed onto one landing page our STEM resources. So it would have why so few, it would have the solving the equation with that information modernized with the updated statistics. On the landing section, it has the STEM packs and it has the Dell playbook and so forth. And so it's in one area now, but also our search should be much more streamlined, because we have so many fewer pages. Instead of searching 15,000 to search 200. So putting STEM in the search should also yield what you're looking for. I know we have a lot of questions. I don't know, Rhiannon, could I ask you to go through and read some of them, or look for some of the ones?
I see somebody asked, I see the new newsletter sign up now requires a zip code. Do we need to re-sign up? No, you do not need to re-sign up. That is so that if you're a member, then we already have your zip code because it's part of your member profile. But for people who aren't members who sign up for our newsletter, we want to be able to know, if they want to know about legislation that's happening in their state, we can do a quick search of all the zip codes in that state and make sure they get a blast about it. So that's why we've added it, but you don't need to worry about it.
And just to note again, Mary put in a plug already. Please vote if you haven't already for the board. We were excited to launch that yesterday. It's open through May 18th, but would be wonderful and help us get a good portion of the way to quorum if every one of the 332 people voted today that are on. As well as I also want to put in a plug to please sign up for 2-Minute Activist if you haven't, and to encourage your members in your branches and states to do that as well. What Rhiannon was talking with the zip code for new people, we have that for members, but it really does help us with our advocacy. So for instance, right now with paid leave, if a senator or a congressperson isn't voting for that, and we can get in touch with the members in that area, it's how we are going to reach out to you. And in this digital age, this is one of the most important advocacy tools we have. And I know Kate Nielsen and her team are going to be presenting more on some webinars moving forward.
I see a couple people have asked about our mission related videos and whether they're going to be available for download. That is a great point. Those were not part of our initial migration, but we will work on getting that. We've since moved from Box to SharePoint for sharing files. So we'll move that link and we'll put it probably in your branch governance and tools toolkit area, and we'll get that up there soon. Yes, this is being recorded and it will be posted, Laura, you said on the Convening 2020 page, right?
Yes.
Great. So yes, this will be available.
And all the webinars, and particularly now that we're having a lot more while people are on in staying at home mode, those will all be up on the website. And I am remiss in the beginning, I didn't wish and hope everyone is staying well and safe, and really noting that what's one of the most wonderful things about AAUW is that we all are here together with each other and for each other in this time. And please do be in touch during this time, because it really is an important organization and way for us all to stay together as we're going through a lot as a country and as an organization. So in terms of the security, and again with the MSD area, that's still the same as it had been in the past. Somebody just asked about that, and I know a few other people have asked about logging in. So that's all staying the same until the fall, until we get to the second phase of the website redesign, when we have the content relationship management backend upgraded, and that will allow, again, for all these technological changes to be able to seamlessly sign up for your state branch and local membership at the same time, that it would be able to be a drop-down menu to do it based on where you are, that level of payment would happen. The Convening 2020 is in the membership section under initiatives, and I can show it at the end. But again, for now, the MSD and other areas are staying the same, and that will have a bigger impact on the site and the state and branch sites moving forward. And that what the vision for that is to have that all have those integrated tools where you can do that, where you can post your newsletters and your calendars and your initiatives and your leadership and so forth in a real templated way. But we know it's going to take a lot of work, and we'll be in a lot more communication about that through the summer and into the fall as we have those systems better designed. But it also will mean we'll be able to automatically pull up things like membership rosters and respond to those kind of things much more quickly, because right now we have things in different databases and different systems, and that's really a huge task our IT group and Shannon Wolf is leading to modernize all of our back end. And we will provide training then when that is available. I've seen more questions. A lot of the questions are related to the branch and state issues. And again, I think we will send out a lot more communications for that later. But we will have a feedback process, or an input process, I should say, as we're working on that development. But it will have a consistent look and feel to this national site. In part, it's modernized and based on the research of the best practices that we went through to get where we are, and want to be able to share that and have that be consistent across the country. MSD is the membership services database. So that's where people log in. When you log in, that's kind of the backend system where it takes you to vote. It helps branch and state leaders manage their rosters and their membership lists. And I'm sure more things that Angie Cooper knows that I don't know. Are there other questions, Rhiannon, that
I was just thinking, Laura or Serena, do either of you have the link to the the input form that went out in that email? Because that might be helpful to share.
We can put that up on the site when we put up the webinar. So we did send or set up a place to send comments back that was in the email that went out on Monday. We'll put that up on the website under where we put this webinar on the 2020 convening page. Yes, you can vote on the website now, or if you don't have access to vote on the website, you can call Connect and they can get you a paper ballot, but it's the same, it's done before. You can access it through the new homepage or directly through the email that went out to you yesterday. Just also noting most people bypass homepages now and go directly where they're looking. So we developed where you want to make people understand that every page is a kind of its own page, its own home page. So that was what Serena and others were referencing of wanting to have everything in one place and accessible right away. So on the branding and the colors, they're all within our current color palette. We have some popping out differently. A lot of it was actually done for the compliance, the visual ADA compliance of why the shades might look a little bit different, and it was for high contrast. And when we get to the state and branch redesigns, we will work on integrating that more as well, but it wasn't considered a rebrand.
Yeah, your branch logos, which you can download from the MSD, will remain the same, so you can continue using those.
Yeah. And again, the login is just your member number and password that you used before. And if you don't have that, please contact Connect. Are there any other questions that are popping up, Rhiannon? That
I think we've covered most of the areas, and some people have very specific questions that maybe they can submit via that form, and we can adjust those separately.
Great. Yeah, we'd appreciate it, and we know that it's hard to get through every specific question on a large forum like this, but please do submit those through the survey online, through Connect, or you can email me as well. And we hope that you enjoy the new site. Like all of us have said, please take some time and go through it. There's a lot of really amazing research and data and interesting mission-focused and program activities, a lot more visual explanation of different program offerings. I do want to also give you guys a preview that very shortly you'll be getting an email about a webinar on Tuesday at 3 p.m. where Kim Churches is going to have a chat with Diane Reen. So we're very excited to be announcing that. And we really appreciate all the real great positive comments that, sorry, I get distracted by yes, please don't start redesigning website pages now for the state and locals. We'll be in touch about that because we'll have a template coming. But thank you for the really positive feedback and comments, and we hope that this will really help the organization seem very modern and engaging to both members as well as new audiences and partners. We've gotten great feedback from a lot of our donors, from the Koch Foundation, from Arconic, and others as well. And again, it's the generosity of members that really is what sustains us day in and day out, both in spirit and in other kinds of support. And wish everybody so much safety and wellness during this period. And we're all here together. So thank you for that. And please do send us questions. And we hope you have a good rest of your Friday.